I'm going to be honest, guys. I fear for Alexander Volkanovski in this fight. But let's get into it. The rematch. One of the greatest fighters of all time. Alexander the Great Volkanovski going up against the forever dangerous and ferocious Diego Lopes. The rematch, guys. Come on, let's get into it. You know, the first fight was unbelievable. One of the best fights you will ever see. Both men landed some brutal shots. Both men hurt each other. You know, Diego dropped Volkanovski, but Volkanovski, make no mistake, he wobbled Diego Lopes countless times. Early in the fight, late in the fight. And simply, Alexander Volkanovski simply showed that he's the better fighter. But unfortunately, the better fighter doesn't always win the fight. You gotta take the damage into consideration. You gotta take the age. You gotta take everything into consideration. And with Volk being at the tail end of his career, and with Diego being hungrier than ever, and you know, one of the youngest guys to face Volkanovski in his illustrious career, this is such a dangerous fight, guys. And especially with all the pressure in the world, the pressure of Sydney, Australia. You know, Volkanovski will be carrying, and he has carried the entire event on his back. Listen, I'm gonna be completely honest. I want Volk to win this fight. Why? It's because I simply love the man. Who doesn't love Alexander Volkanovski? You know, he is the epitome of what a true mixed martial artist is. He's so humble, he's so gracious. I mean, he is truly one of the good guys in our beautiful sport. But Diego's also amazing. He's also, you know, humble, gracious, exciting, ferocious. Everything good that you can think of applies to Volk and Diego. But I still want Volk to win this fight. But I'm going to be honest. I fear for this man. I fear for the man in this fight. You know, Diego Lopes, he's such a dangerous opponent everywhere. On the feet, in the clinch, outside range, up close, you know, on top, on bottom, on the ground, on the cage. I mean, listen, there's not a single aspect of MMA that Diego Lopes isn't as dangerous as anyone in it. Now, Volkanovski, he's smarter, he's sharper, he's faster. He got more weapons, he got more tools in the bag. But 37, guys, 37, and this is a young man's game. And Volkanovski has taken so much punishment in the last few fights. Now, before the first fight, I was like, if Volkanovski fights this fight with his hands up, he's going to win this fight. And he did. He did fight. For the first time in his career, Volkanovski fought with his hands up. Why? It's because the man heard what was being said. And he did the correct adjustments. Now, even though he won most of the fight, and like I said, he's without a doubt the better fighter. Diego Lopes will never be better than Volkanovski, but that doesn't mean that he can't knock out Volkanovski. But even in the last fight, even though Volkanovski fought for the most part in the first fight with his hands up, he still got dropped. Now, he wasn't badly hurt. It was more like a flash knockdown. But even the eye, you know, if you guys remember, he took a lot of damage to his eye. He couldn't see, and he almost, you know, lost the fight when Diego was hunting him down, when blood was pouring around Volkanovski's eye. I mean, listen, it was a brawl. It was a war. It was, like I said, one of the best featherweight fights you will ever see. But every fight is different. No matter how many times Volkanovski beats Diego, every time he fights him, there's a big chance that he gets finished. And I'm just praying to God that Volkanovski can manage to pull off the win once again. Now, like I said, love Diego Lopes. The man is unbelievable. Young, humble, hungry, hardworking, exciting. You know, power in both hands. He will be utilizing, he will be looking to land that chopping right hand on Volkanovski over Volkanovski's jab. So what does Volkanovski need to do in this fight? Not only does he need to fight with his hands up, but you cannot back in a straight line versus Diego Lopes. If you back up in a straight line versus Diego, you will pay. And he did pay, Volkanovski did, in the first fight. He got dropped. So angles, a sharp piston jab, throwing the jab and returning your hand to where it should be, upstairs. But if he flicks the jab, Diego will come up top with that chopping right hand. And also Volkanovski gotta be aware of the kicks. Now, good for him, Diego's not the biggest kicker, but make no mistake, his Muay Thai is lethal. The knees in the clinch. But Volkanovski, on the other hand, the calf kick. Diego is extremely flat-footed. Every fighter got weaknesses. And the biggest weakness when you talk about Diego Lopes is his defense from head to toe. No head movement, no footwork, extremely heavy on his feet. And listen, beautiful people, call me crazy here, but I think that Volkanovski can knock him out. Even though, Diego's chin is unbelievable, but Diego also gets rocked a lot. Volkanovski hurt him multiple times in their first fight. Jean Silva hurt him many times in his last fight. And I don't know what Jean Silva was thinking in that fight. He fought like he was in a street fight. No technique, no thought process whatsoever, adrenaline dump, and he just wanted to take Lopez's lights out. He still managed to hurt him many times. And even Ivloyev hurt Diego Lopes. Even Dan Ige, on a few hours' notice, when he landed that massive right hand up against the fence, he also got a reaction from Diego. So make no mistake, yes, Diego's neck is this big. Yes, he got an iron chin. But if he gets hit on the right spot by someone as sharp as Volkanovski, he might get knocked out, and he will get knocked out if Volkanovski lands flush and if Diego doesn't see the punch coming. Now, Diego Lopes does a lot of catch and shoot work, but his catch and shoot is unbelievable. It's because most fighters, they catch and shoot with the hook, but Diego catches, and by catch, I don't mean catch on the arm. He catches to the face. He gets hit in the face, but he always fires back with the violent right uppercut of his. And he might also knock out Volkanovski with the right uppercut. Who knows? I mean, listen, the outcomes and the scenarios, the possibilities for this fight are endless. And that is why they gave Diego the rematch. Even though he doesn't deserve it as much as Lerone and Movsar Evloev. But I guarantee you he will give you the best fight and the most exciting fight out of all of them versus such a decorated champion like Volkanovski. What an unbelievable fight. Even the undercard, Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint-Denis, Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy. I think that this pay-per-view might even be better than the one that took place last week, Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje. But the main event, I will be watching, hoping and praying that Volkanovski gets through and goes home to his family safe, because, come on, we all love Volk.